Good afternoon once again. Richard Rogers here, Zana Halliburton. Thanks to our earlier crew for doing a great job.
Yes.
We're playing tag team here just to keep you updated on the latest information, and we have a big developing story right now.
That's right. Governor Henry McMaster in Aiken right now, ready to give us an update. We do have crews out there, so we're going to listen in.
Positions that need to have this information firsthand, and now we want to bring it to you. We, of course, have suffered a devastating storm. But tragically, we've lost, we believe, 25 of our people due to this storm, and we don't want to lose any more. So we ask everyone to be careful. Don't go out. Don't use a chainsaw for the first time today or during this storm. Also, be careful. There are electrical wires running under downed trees and limbs, and don't go out there if there's any chance that there's any sort of wire running under that debris, because you can get shocked and die. And that is the reason that it's taken us a while to get these things, get the debris out of the way. And that is, the chainsaws cannot go in until the electricity is turned off by the power company. Now, the power companies are working around the clock. We have thousands of people out all over the state, and we'll have some details in a moment on that. But this is something that's going to require some patience. We haven't seen anything quite like this before, particularly in this part of the state. But it's a devastating blow, but we can make it through. All we have to do when we get that debris cleared, once we get the debris cleared, then we can get in, and the filling stations and all the stores, all the things are without electricity, including some of the cell towers aren't working. So we're really in the dark in some places, but it's going to take patience, but we're getting there. We're making steady progress. We've had meetings every day on this. We have two a day with all the county people, all the state people, to keep everyone informed and be sure the assets are being allocated to the best advantageous spots. I've asked the National Guard today and the State Guard to take any personnel that are available that are not already deployed and put them to work assisting and helping around the state wherever they can be of any assistance. And they'll be working closely with the state's law enforcement division. Chief is here to discuss that as well. But we want people to remain calm. Help is on the way. It's just going to take some time. We're working to have a system up where you can go online or go to places that have this sort of information to see which gas stations open, which roads are blocked, all that sort of stuff. Some folks can't get online to see it, and we'll have it available. But we ask everyone to be very patient. Also, the power companies, and Kelly Sam can go into this a little bit in more detail about the thousands of people that are out there. They're out there for Duke. The co-ops are working around the clock as well. And the Department of Transportation was positioned before the storm, getting ready for the storm, and now they are working around the clock as well. We have people sleeping in the offices, sleeping in not in hotels, but in warehouses and all sorts of places, to enable them and their crews to keep working around the clock. So I'll ask Justin Powell, the Secretary of Transportation, to provide some information.
Thank you, Governor. I'm Justin Powell, Secretary of Transportation for the South Carolina Department of Transportation. As the Governor alluded to, we have been working around the clock in preparation for, as well as in response to Hurricane Helene. We went on to 24-hour operations on Thursday morning in advance of the storm. Our crews stayed in place during the storm when the winds became lifted, and we were able to start cutting our way out of our facilities, and we have been responding ever since there. We have been augmenting and adding in resources from the eastern half of the state, as well as contractors into counties like Aiken, Edgefield, as well as up into the upstate as well. Our focus operationally right now is to work on the interstates first. That mission was completed yesterday. We're now focusing on our primary routes. That's a SC-19, that's a US 1 down here. We focus on those roads which carry about half of the state's traffic. Once we get those resolved, we'll move on to the secondary roads. Those are your neighborhood streets that the DOT operates. One of the biggest challenges we've been having, as the governor alluded to, are power lines entangled in our trees entangled in the power lines. We will be working closely with our utility partners, but that limits our ability to do that. But we are closely working together to resolve those power lines. Once they get undone, we'll take out those trees. We ask for the public's patience during this time. This is a challenging time, a very large event in terms of the amount of trees. Thousands of trees have come down. Know that there are some resources available to you. Our call center is working extended hours, 1-855-GO-SCDOT. Also can advise that the SCDOT website, scdot.org, has our road closure information under the travel tab that is available for you to kind of see where the route is. But no, we're going to continue to work 24 hours. We ask the public for patience. When you come across a crew, whether it's a DOT crew, a National Guard crew, a utility crew, or one of the local public works crew or public safety crew out there, slow down, give them their space, let them do their jobs. It's the most important thing we can do to get the power back on, the roads reopened for South Carolina. I know that we're going to continue to work around the clock for that. As this mission wraps up in terms of clearing the roads, we will be dealing with debris cleanup. That'll start in earnest in October, and we'll start working to clean up these piles of debris that are on the ground. But know that your DOT is committed and is working continuously, leaving their friends and families behind to work on behalf of the people of South Carolina.
Just for a matter of perspective, when the storm hit, we have 3 million customers, major customers around the state. 3 million. Right after the storm, we had 1.3 million outages. The next day, we had 1.2 million. As of this morning, we're down to less than 900,000. So we're making progress, and it'll speed up as we go forward because we're getting those trees out of the roads and off the power lines. Chief Key.
Good afternoon, Mark Keel, Chief of SLED. Just want to say that since the beginning of this storm, we've been in constant contact with all of our law enforcement partners. We'll continue to be in touch with them daily, making sure that they have all the needs they have to keep the community safe. Again, we are deploying people throughout the state of South Carolina, and we'll continue that. We have deployed people from all over the state, from our coastal areas into the Midlands and to the upstate, and we'll continue that along with all of our state law enforcement partners, DNR, Triple P, the Highway Patrol. So again, sheriffs and chiefs, if they need anything, all they need to do is call us at SLED, and we will be there to try to help them and make sure that we keep the public safe during this period of time.
Kelly Sam, Dominion.
You know, we start with safety, and the most important thing is to be safe. Stay away from down power lines. Don't go out and try to cut a tree away from a power line. Usually they're under tension. The lines are under tension if they're there on that tree. And when you cut those limbs off it, it lifts up the weight and it's going to spring back. If it springs back, it can take your head off. So be careful. One of the most dangerous things our linemen do is cut trees. So be safe. They've had a number of visits of folks with carbon monoxide poisoning to some of the various hospitals around South Carolina. Do not run a generator inside. Don't have a grill inside. That's something you need to do outside in that regard. How are we restoring power? Well, you see that helicopter that's whirring over there, it's got a big saw on the bottom of it. It's already gone out on the transmission lines and it's patrolled. Now it's come back to get the saw to cut the trees off those transmission lines. We have to restore transmission. Then we have to restore the substations. Those are the fenced-in areas with the breakers that bring energy to your subdivision. Then we'll focus on the main feeders, and we'll get the filling stations, the restaurants, the grocery stores back to return people's lives back to normal. And then when we finish with that, we'll get down into the neighborhoods as well to get everybody back on. In addition to that, I just want to say that everybody in this community, from Barnwell to North Augusta, Aiken, all the way to McCormick, has been wonderful to deal with. They're providing us for lodging and gymnasiums and National Guard armories where we can put our linemen, because we have 1,355 off-system resources. These are linemen that don't work here in South Carolina, and they're here. We add that to the 800 that we have that are here every day serving you, and we've got an army. And so you can tilt the state all the way down to Aiken, because as everything else is cleaned up, they're all going to be here on the Savannah River. And so you're going to have an army of linemen here that will be feeding and housing, and they'll be working around the clock to restore power here to these communities that we are proud to serve. Our linemen are the product of this community. They're your neighbors and friends. A lot of them, just like you, don't have power, but they're out here working to make sure that you have power and to return your life back to normalcy. Quick numbers, how many we have out? Total customers impacted, 404,000. What was it peak? 386,000. That tells you some customers out more than once. Where are we right now? 125,000 customers across our entire system. So you do the math, we restored over 300,000 customers' power back as we've gone through this process. And we hope to make the same progress in this area that is the most heavily hit. Keep in mind, Hugo was a Category 4 that hit Charleston. This was a Category 4 when it hit at Tallahassee. Its energy spread out 450 miles. Do the math, you were right in the bullseye of it. And understand this, all the damage that you saw from McClellanville to up to Charlotte after Hugo, this is what you see from Barnwell all the way up to McCormick and then up to Greenville, Spartanburg. This is a major storm people will be talking about for a long time. And I hope as they talk about it from here forward is that we all pulled together, we all prayed for each other, we all supported each other, and it was neighbors helping neighbors, and we came out here, and at the end of it, like everything else, it created endurance. Endurance creates hope, and hope gives us a boundless joy. That's what we want to have at the end of this, and God bless you all. We're going to be working for you around the clock. Thank you very much.
Gary Stooksbury, Aiken Co-op.
Thank you, Governor, and I really appreciate Keller explaining how we get the power back on. We're no different than Dominion. Aiken Electric's a little bit smaller, obviously, in scale, but we still have the monumental task that Keller was talking about. To give you an idea, at the height of the storm Friday, we have 29 substations. We did not have transmission service to 27 of them. There was 2 substations to the east of us near Orangeburg that was not hit as bad, that had station power. So today, thanks to our supplier Santee Cooper, we've got all but one of our substations in service. That substation is in Edgefield County, and we have all the resources like Keller from out of state that are working. Our folks, we've set up obviously a command center at all of our area offices. We have a storm restoration center that we built up in North. We're housing linemen and personnel from out of state to help us with the restoration effort. And we've got a small army working. We have people sleeping in our offices. My administrative assistant is sleeping in her office this week. And our objective is, like Keller, we are going to get your lights back on. We ask for your patience, and please slow down on the roads because they are linemen in harm's way out there that are trying to get your lights back on, and we just ask for patience and be cautious out there when you drive. This is not the Darlington 500, so slow down. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have questions? Oh, excuse me. Congressman Wilson.
Hey, and Governor Henry McMaster and Team Carolina, it's so inspiring to be here and to see the leadership responding to a catastrophe that really was worse than we anticipated. Thursday night, I was grateful to be at the Emergency Preparedness Division with Kim Stinson. I saw them getting prepared for the worst, and they did. And see it coming together today, to see the municipal, county, and state offices coming together, the cooperation the governor's having on the federal level. But incredibly enough, today is the 65th anniversary of Hurricane Gracie hitting at Beaufort and Charleston. At that time, it was the Midlands and Upstate that came to the rescue of the Low Country and to the rescue of the PD. Now it's the exact reverse. And so who would ever imagine a hurricane catastrophe in the upstate of South Carolina, but it's coming together. And I'm also really grateful that as Representative Bart Blackwell took me through neighborhoods, and I saw the beautiful 100-year-old, 200-year-old oaks that have fallen over. And so while I was there, I contacted George Sacalaras, president of the Amoresco Company in Boston, Massachusetts. We are so fortunate here in Aiken County at the Savannah River site. We have one of the world's largest woody biomass conversion to energy facilities in the world. And President Sacalaras has said that he's already begun procedures. Just as the ice storm 10 years ago, they are ready to help and remove the debris and convert it into energy. And so people are really coming together, and I'm just so grateful to represent the extraordinary people of Aiken and Barnwell counties. Thank you. God bless you.
We have time for a few questions.
Okay, the governor, if you see over there, some of your cameras went over there. He's already patrolled the transmission. There's 16 saw blades, skill saw blades underneath that saw. And I promise you, he can put some limbs and debris on the ground. And so we use that in tandem. So he's observing, but at the same time, he's cutting these pine trees that are laid up in the line. And man, it's an efficient way to do it. That's technology at its best.
Thank you. Okay, any questions? Yes, sir.
Did you guys
Speak up, please, ma'am.
Did you guys send a lot of help to Florida?
You know, the media, that's important. You know, everybody gets on social media. I don't have Bookface or Twitter, and I'll just tell you that, you know, there are a lot of rumors. People say, well, people take advantage of people like this with price gouging. People take advantage of people when they put ridiculous rumors out there on the web. And the first thing is, with mutual assistance, we got together for our first mutual assistance call on Wednesday before the storm got here on Friday. And those that were going to be affected, they put in there, we'd like to have linemen. We want them to be sent our way. We got on that call to participate in it with Southeastern Electric Exchange, and we were asking for linemen to come to South Carolina. So maybe people saw bucket trucks going to Florida, but they were coming from other northern states that had nothing to be in the path of this. You know, people come up with all kind of things. Somebody said a rumor on social media that our folks were out with, you know, we weren't paying our linemen overtime, so they quit. They're not working anymore. Totally a fabrication. Fair Labor Standards Act. So you just got to avoid all those rumors, get it from a credible source so that it's fact-based instead of rumor-based. So we sent no linemen anywhere outside this state. We were just waiting on what's to come, and now we've added those other 1,300 resources so that we can get about the business of returning people's lives back to normal. Thank you.
Thank you. We've got to get him to Greenville right now, so appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you.
There you have it, a very spirited news conference just wrapping up with the governor of South Carolina. Let's just stay on the shot and watch this while we talk about this, Ana, if we could. Governor McMaster starting off with really a grim number that 25 people have lost their lives in this storm.
And, you know, it's really sad to hear that, but certainly they're doing all they can. They kept saying they're working around the clock. You know, they threw out a lot of numbers, people still just out of power right now, but certainly they threw out good numbers of people that they have helped. I know they said they restored over 300,000 people, so that's really great.
Progress.
And then, you know, this really was a motivating press conference because, you know, we're a couple days in, you know, post-storm, if you will.
People are getting tired of it. Tired. They want some relief. They want their power back on. And we finally got to hear from the people who are in charge of doing exactly that. But they say help is coming. Interesting thing for the governor to mention right off the bat, and this is important for all of our viewers, don't use a chainsaw for the first time. And if you're using a chainsaw, make sure the power is out, because you might have a line in that tree and not even be aware of it.
That is really good information, too. And, you know, they even pointed out some technology that they're sending out to kind of help in this recovery. And another interesting thing, though, too, I think people may not be familiar with this, but South Carolina DOT speaking, just saying that they do have a call number if you need some help. And they said that's 1-855-GO-SCDOT, and they are taking extended calls. So this just goes to show that they are really allocating their resources, and people really are working, if you will. We keep saying around the clock because they are. We're
watching this helicopter that's about to take off so the governor can go to the upstate and look at more damage. But I think they're right. This is one of those Hurricane Hugo storms that we'll be talking about for decades with this kind of damage this far inland. He did say, the governor, that National and State Guard have been activated. We've seen them on the ground here in Augusta and in North Augusta and Aiken County. Help is on the way, he says. It's just going to take some time. Of course, we heard this refrain over and over again. Crews are working around the clock. They have like 3 million customers out there and more than 1 million outages right after the storm. So the job was huge, starting off with so many outages right away, but they're making progress.
Right, and it's still huge, but it's good to know those numbers are going down. The SLED chief speaking a little bit, just saying that they're deploying people from all over the state, wherever they're needed. He put out the number. There's over 1,300 linemen working as needed, so they're really allocating their resources to the most hard-hit areas.
Not sure if we can go back to that live shot as the governor takes off, but that would be great if we could. If not, that's fine too, as that chopper gets ready to power up. We also heard from the Transportation Secretary, as Anna just mentioned. They focused first on interstates, and he said that work is done. We've noticed a lot of backups on I-20 eastbound, and we have to assume down the way there are either wrecks or trees down that might have been blocking some of the lanes up there. But apparently the state's interstates are clear now. Now they focus on those primary routes that they say carry half the state's traffic. They say trees in the power lines, that's been the main problem. So slow down and give them space. SLED popped in to say, we are in touch with your local sheriff. We're in touch with your local chief. If you need us, call for help, which was great to hear. But the highlight, I think, of the whole news conference was the Dominion Energy, Mr. Keller. He came in sounding like he was firing up a football team at halftime.
He's leading an army, that's for sure.
He's leading an army of linemen. He said they've been patrolling the transmission lines using that helicopter that's off screen, not this one that's carrying the governor. And they have a saw, and I've seen video of this, Zaina. There's a saw that drops down and actually cuts the lines and frees the trees from the air. It's the most amazing thing to see, but when you have a skilled pilot and someone running that, it is a quick way to get wood off power lines, and that's what they've been doing as they try to, first of all, this was interesting too, after they patrol the transmission lines, they've got to get the substations up, they've got to get the feeders to the businesses, and that's what affects you and me, the restaurants, the gas stations, and then they've got to get the lines back to the neighborhoods as we see the rotors begin to turn there, taking the governor away. 404,000 out originally in the storm and 125,000 out now. They say, do the math, that's progress.
That is progress, and we know we heard from Aiken Co-op too, saying that they have 29 substations that were once down, but all are up except for one. So that just goes to show how fast they really are working. And then Secretary of Transportation, like you said, just kind of giving us that good news update on those interstates. They said they've already completed clearing out those roadways as of yesterday. So that just goes to show, I mean, this storm just happened, if you will, Thursday night into Friday,
that's
and they're saying that's good news. For everyone at home worried about your neighborhoods, you know, there's still a lot of trees down. That's kind of on the bottom of their list because right now they're working on those main routes, and then they said eventually they'll start sending crews out to the neighborhoods. So it's all just kind of a chain effect. We do have to be patient. I don't know how many times everyone said patient, but that kind of was, I think, the message to everyone at home. But they did let us know that resources are there. We do see people, if you've been out, I know people are out driving, still going to the stores, trying to fill up gas. I have been seeing people working, so that is great news. Maybe they're not to you just yet, but they are there.
Well, some people are stuck in their neighborhoods, and they're only seeing what we're able to see, you know, when you look out your windows, and that's good. You need to stay off the roads and let them do their work. But I think the message today was we're out here, we're getting some work done, and also perspective of the size of the storm. And you think about it, 450 miles away, we had a Cat 4 hurricane, and it came right here, and they say we were right in the path of it. It never took that turn that was forecast to take over more westerly toward Atlanta. We were sort of ground zero, and when you look on that map, there's an outage map we'll show you later on. Nick Proto was showing it earlier. You can almost see the path of the storm when you look at the state of Georgia up through South Carolina in the darkest red areas over there. It's pulled up in the social media corner if you want to take a quick look at that on camera. But that gives you an idea of just what we're facing power-wise in the state. And they wanted us to know that South Carolina sent no linemen out of the state. There was worry, there was concern on social media that, hey, we sent a lot of people to Florida, when actually we didn't. That they stayed put, and we're getting actual thankfully reinforcements from northern states coming south to help in South Carolina.
And I think it was something powerful. And yesterday we were talking about this, Richard, and just thanking all of these crews, all of these linemen, everyone just hard at work. Oh, there you go. Actually, there you can see. And you were just talking about that path. I mean, all in the red, these are the people still out. These are who's affected right now. That county name looks like it's saying Columbia right there. And
Columbia County.
County out. It looks like more
91,000 people out. The darker red is the worst.
Oh, that's actually Richmond right there. And that's saying like over 91,000 right there in Richmond.
That's right. And you guys are going to click into South Carolina for us. But that darker red really is the path that the storm took. And here we are. If you want to land on Aiken County and then some of our surrounding South Carolina, there's Aiken with 75,000 outages right now. So that's a lot of people in the dark. Edgefield with 13,000 out as we speak. Let's keep moving. McCormick County, the outages there, almost 6,000 in McCormick County. That's a lot for one of the rural counties there. And then up toward Greenwood is 26,000. Let's go back as Governor McMaster leaves this part of the state, heads for the upstate there, but he's been traveling around, getting a look for himself. Sometimes you need to put eyes on a storm.
You do, and we know before he set foot to give us that press conference, he was getting an aerial view over Aiken. So I think it really puts perspective when you see things just high above, but now he's making his way to Greenville. Yeah. And just a heads up for everyone in Aiken County, that curfew actually has been dropped. There's not a curfew today. Right. We know Richmond County still does have a curfew, believe from 7 today until 7 tomorrow morning, if I'm not mistaken, but just kind of keep your eyes on that. But I know they said if you don't have to be on the roads, again, don't, and if you are, take extra precaution because trees are still down.
And we mentioned this last night. It is incredibly dark out there. When you lose your street lights and you lose your neighborhood lights, you can be in a lane of traffic when all of a sudden there's a pine tree and it's in your lane, and if you're going too fast, you're going to be in that pine tree. One more note from the news conference before we move on. It was interesting to see Congressman Joe Wilson. We haven't seen him live on camera since his health emergency in Washington, D.C. I mean, we haven't heard a lot of details, but he collapsed at an event. I think a doctor was right there to give him actual CPR. He had to have a pacemaker installed. He spent many, many days in the hospital there in D.C., but it was good to see Congressman Joe Wilson of South Carolina standing up with the governor and looking
also
healthy.
Giving encouraging words, just that, letting us know everyone is really all hands on deck right now. And it puts into perspective, one of them said, we're leaving our friends and family behind to work for the people of South Carolina. And that really means a lot, too, because these people, they're people just like us, right? They have family members, too. And if you're driving at night for essential workers, I mean, they're out there. They're out there at midnight, and we see them. Right?
We're in it together. We're not going home to power. I'll tell you that right now. And in fact, when I drive up to the station and you hear that hum of the generator, that's why we have lights on. If you're here on Riverwatch Parkway and you go, how come News 12 is lit up? There are lights, and we have street lights going. There's a big, a massive generator that's powering all this, and we are grateful that it kicked in just as soon as the power went out.
I know a lot of people who are actually purchasing generators as we speak and trying to set those up. And if you go to some intersections that are working, again, that's what you're hearing. You're hearing a humming, and I've actually been seeing the generators out at certain intersections. I know there's one in Grovetown right now. The lights are still working, but they also have the generators locked up as well.
Be careful. You're going to get a brand new generator, but you have to fuel it somehow. So there goes back to the gas question. How do I find gas for my generator? I know some run on propane as well, so you have to look at those options too. And a lot of us are studying generators for the first time. We're just hoping they get the power on quickly enough to where we never have to make that purchase.
And you were just mentioning gas right now. Is it possible if we can take that Mito at Costco? I know we were showing it earlier today. Okay, we're going to show it in just a minute.
That intersection that we were watching, we were excited about this. Yesterday, we had a traffic signal working. It's not working again.
Yes.
Right there at Alexander and Riverwatch Parkway.
I've noticed that, and there you are. We're giving you that live look right there, right out of our station. There is Costco. If you're driving up here, too, I did see a sign, Bass Pro Shops, letting you know that they are open. They actually had a written sign that said Bass Pro.
Well, that's progress. They might have some equipment you can use on the deck.
Sure.
To cook out or whatever. I know a lot of people are looking for alternative ways to heat things up, but that'll give you an idea of whether you will actually want to make the trip over. And I don't know what the end of this line looks like, if it trails back out on Riverwatch Parkway. But apparently it does wrap around.
Okay, we're being told
it's like a Disney line. It goes down to the end of that street and then curves back to Costco. So don't be fooled by that. I have a gas story to tell you from this morning. I just the one thing I wanted to do today was get gas in a car that was getting low, and so I joined about 150 or 200 of my friends on the Aiken-Augusta Highway. We sat in a long line of traffic. And the only reason I knew I was in the right line is because it would eventually move, and slowly move. And so it was an hour It was an hour in that
Wow.
line for a Greg's Gas Plus.
That's actually really good.
Over
because
that
we know
way.
some people have been reporting 3+ hours,
Yeah.
especially at Costco as well.
And for the most part, people were pretty well behaved. We did have a couple of horns honking when people tried to nose in where they didn't belong, but for the most part, people stayed in their lines, and the folks at Parker's have to salute them too. As we give you a look at, I just see a shot of I-20 over our shoulder, which looks clear, by the way. There's the intersection with no light there, so that's a four-way stop again. We were excited, Zana, yesterday because we did see crews working, and the lights yesterday were working.
I like to say for the most part, people seem to kind of be adjusting to the four-way stop. However, not everyone is listening. You know, I have been a little nervous driving myself. I had to drive today to actually pick up my car to fill it up. But yeah, so just a reminder, a lot of intersections do not have power, so the traffic lights are still out, so treat that as a four-way stop and just be cautious.
And stay on that angle for a second, Lauren, if you would, because I want to describe yesterday how much worse it was. People were going way down to that second opening, down where the Delta call center is, and Richmond County had them doing a U-turn and coming back to make that turn that you see where the traffic is right there. So already traffic is better. Maybe more people are getting gas in their tanks, and it's not the emergency it was yesterday, but that's that's pretty typical. It's not a short line, but it looks like a doable thing. I think the problem with Costco yesterday was they were running on a generator too, and then their generator went down. So they had, can you imagine being the person who you're pulling up to the pump and they're saying, sorry?
You waited hours.
We know you've been in line 3 hours.
You waited hours to get to the front to basically turn around to try to come back today. Do we have our shot up from I-20 headed towards Grovetown? If we do, okay, I want to point this out.
What did you see?
A backup. I'm assuming people are probably leaving our area because I thought the backup was into Grovetown. It was not. It's
Right.
just headed west towards Atlanta. So I don't know if people are going out there to find gas or just trying to leave the area. But
I had a conversation with a neighbor today, heading the opposite direction, going to Lexington to get gas.
Wow. So a lot of people are either leaving, staying at hotels, maybe family members, or just looking for gas kind of on the outskirts. But it was really backed up earlier. But I do know there were crews at the same time working along that highway, so it could have been some of that. But I'm just a little curious. I have friends too that have told me they're now in Atlanta.
A lot of people are hitting the road. They've decided that enough is enough at the house. And you know, once you get your freezer emptied, which was another thing besides getting gas, I had to empty the freezer, the refrigerator. All those trash bags had to go out, you know, so that's going to be a process for a lot of people going through that right now. But some people are leaving town because, the house is empty, it's dark, and with the refrigerator and freezer empty, they're not staying around. They're not sticking around anymore. Those who can leave are heading out of town. That and gradually getting stores reopening again, as you mentioned.
Right.
Not just Costco gas, but
That's
Cabela's
right.
right down the way.
And we are still getting updates too on school closures. You know, we were talking about some were closed all week, some just a couple days, and they would give us an update. But the new update today is Columbia County actually is closed through all of next week until Friday, as well as Richmond County, which made that announcement earlier. But originally Columbia County was set to be closed through Wednesday. Now it's all the way through Friday.
Yeah, I think they're seeing the reality of that. And we haven't even talked much yet about the water situation in Augusta.
And there was a press conference on that. I want to say it was early this morning around 6:30, but Mayor and Augusta Utilities also out there speaking. But water has been shut off here in Augusta, and they're saying probably for the next 24 to 48 hours. But we know that they are working on distributing water to families. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say they were doing that at the municipal building. Not sure if they still have water. That's another thing. I'm sure it's kind of while resources are available.
A family could get a case of
one
water.
case, right? One case.
Back. So the water giveaways are right there on the screen. We've got Emmanuel County, 1 case per vehicle. That's at the Boneyard in Swainsboro. That's from now until when supplies last, and I hope they do last. For those of you in Emmanuel County wondering about just some drinking water to have. Water giveaways there. Edgefield County, the Edgefield Water Authority giving out water there. They do want you to bring your own container.
And that's good to know. Okay. And are those all of our water giveaways that we know of right now? Again, I do want to point this out too, because I was getting notifications too from Columbia County saying that water is not being shut off. So that's kind of the update there. I think once you start getting updates from certain counties, everyone kind of worries, am I affected? But right now it's only for Augusta that we know of. So we'll certainly keep people updated.
I'm glad you said that, because just before I came out here, I was listening to a video update from Mayor Britton Williams in North Augusta. He was standing there letting everyone know that Dominion is using Riverview Park as a staging area, which means those crews and those trucks don't have to travel to and from this area to do the work. They're staying there, and they're staying local. So we have all those Dominion Energy people staying right here in North Augusta as they try to get the power out and do that work that we just heard described in the news conference. And there were some other people working out of Riverview Park as well. That's become sort of a staging area. But that was the latest from Britton Williams. If you are able to get online and go to Facebook, Mayor Williams did post that on his page. I shared it on my page. I believe the station's about to share it as well. Just gives you an overview of what's happening there in North Augusta from the mayor.
And it's great to see all of our mayors coming together, and they have been posting on their social media pages. So if you don't follow them, that's just a good reminder too. Some people on base probably wondering what's going on there. Fort Eisenhower has posted an update that they will remain closed through Wednesday with only essential personnel assisting in recovery efforts.
All right, also Main Street treats, giving away all of their ice cream today. Sometimes the freezer knocks out and you got to get rid of it. That's from 4 to 7 today. They're also accepting donations for snacks for utility workers in the area. That's a good idea. So they're going to try to give away what's there and then try to give back to those crews.
I love that. So that's taking place actually right now as we speak, okay? Just a couple minutes after 4. So 4 to 7 if you're interested in that. And then just a heads up again for parents on schools and some changes due to the storm. Compass for Hope is giving away blessing bags today. That started at 11. They'll be in the parking lot of the JBA near Presbyterian. This is first come, first serve. So again, that started at 11 this morning. Not sure if they're still out there. It's kind of until supplies run out. But I know Compass for Hope is very active on their Facebook page. So maybe you can check there and kind of get an update as well.
You know, a lot of different groups are finding ways to be a blessing, and that's just one of them. And we thank you in advance for doing that, especially you local churches and synagogues who are able to help out. Today, the Midland Valley Booster Club, they're holding a food giveaway. That was going on at the Midland Valley concession stand. It was first come, first serve. We don't know the status over there. Back Paddle Brewing is giving out bread and buns and cheese and catfish, mahi and veggies. And what are we doing sitting here? We need to check that out. Pretzels and butter fries and other supplies while they last. And that's the Macedonia Church in Grovetown. There's going to be barbecue starting at noon today. That was on UN Court. Now we're at 4 in the afternoon. That might be wrapped up. But police, they say, are going to be serving free hot dogs and giving out water in their parking lot on Pleasant Street.
And the Allendale County Emergency Management Agency has given out drinks, water, and food rations. So again, a lot of these things happening earlier today, and it's just kind of a first come, first serve basis. Not sure if they'll continue on during the week and tomorrow, but it's just something to keep an eye on, I guess, until supplies run out.
If we get word, we'll let you know if we hear of any new ones. Hundreds of people lining up also down Costco today to get gas, and we showed you that earlier. Those lines started this morning, stretching in some case for miles on both directions of Riverwatch Parkway. And all these people with generators, you know, they walk up with those the gas cans. They've got to get those generators filled. Sometimes they'll put one pump aside just for the walk-ups, which was the case this morning over at Greg's Gas Plus on Aiken-Augusta Highway. They had one pump just for the people walking up with those cans to fill up so they can get those generators going. So anyway, anywhere from an hour and a half to even up to 4 hours this morning, that was the wait. One traveler says he didn't realize how many people were in the same situation until he saw the need today. Here's what he had to say.
Going up Riverwatch World, getting ready to turn into Top Golf, but I see a line on the highway. I back up, I say, hey, is this the line to the gas station? The guy was like, yeah, unfortunately. And I didn't know. I backed up and got in line, but it actually started on the other side of the highway.
So yeah, we're meeting some of our neighbors, sometimes seeing them again under unusual circumstances, but yeah, do be patient, and especially when you're in line for gas, sometimes tensions can run high, and at intersections too. You know, we don't honk a lot down south. I've heard more honking in the last couple of days, but you know, be careful at those four-way stops and be patient at those four-way stops.
Richard said we don't honk a lot down here. I'm like, okay, well, we're a little different in Oklahoma because I don't really hear anyone honking.
People?
No, they don't. I think it's the opposite. People honk a lot down here.
This is not New York.
Some information on shelters. If you're in need or if you know someone in need, Aiken County opened a shelter in North Augusta for Aiken, Edgefield, and North Augusta people. So shelters at Meriwether Elementary on Spring Haven Drive in North Augusta. Wilkes County opening high school gyms in Oglethorpe County Schools for shelter. They have hot showers, warm meals, chargers. Shelter in Bamberg County at Bamberg First Baptist Church still open for people. There's a shelter in Barnwell at Barnwell Elementary School with food, water, and sleeping arrangements. And another thing I've noticed, actually, if you are heading downtown Augusta and then going up to like 13th Street Bridge, I saw people with signs today saying charging station.
Oh.
And I saw some tents set up and people sitting there.
Wow.
So it just goes to show, didn't look like they were with an organization that I could tell, just wearing everyday clothes.
What a great idea.
Neighbors helping neighbors, right? It's kind of the theme.
Because some people are going out to their car right now, and gas is so in short supply. You don't want to just burn all of your gas in your driveway. All right, that's what we know for now. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get ready for the news a little later on. I'm not sure if NBC or CBS even have the slot for local news, which means we'll come right back here online. I'm hearing now that NBC does have a position for us. So maybe after golf tonight, we'll be able to go live, perhaps, on NBC. And if we can't, we're going to come right back online. This is where we'll be. This is where we'll meet you. And if you're watching, we're glad you can, because a lot of people are still in the dark.
And again, we are thinking with everyone affected. Again, we're all in this together, and we know resources are there and they are working as we speak.
All right, Zena, thanks to you and thanks to our crew behind the scenes for helping us get this information out to you. We'll be back just as soon as we know more. For now, hang in there. I think our sign out front says it. Stay strong, Augusta.